Oh. It's going to show me stuff over there. Hello, video on demand people. Oh, oh. Oh, I see myself. That's concerning. Uh-huh. So is this just a cropped version of that? That's concerning. So, sorry if you just heard the worst echo in the world. I was checking to see if that worked. Oh. Am I getting desktop sound? If I go here and go here and go here. Oh, that looks like that's probably too loud. How about that? Does that sound about right? If I was smart, I'd have recorded it before I went live. That looks better. Right, I'm going to mute desktop sound. Sorry, no music view, so I can listen and find out. Cool. That was good. Pass me smart. Pass me smart. Okay, so here's the situation, people. You are up here today. You're up here. This is not my normal setup when I'm recording. Normally you're here in front of me, but I can't actually able to see this. So this is the situation. In 6.5 hours, I am running Draw Steel for my friends. Now I started prepping a little bit tonight, and I recorded that. And I decided that this kind of content is better live. So this is going to step on the channel. You are I reckon the majority of people who are ever going to see this section, given nobody's currently watching, are people who are going to see this in the future when it's on the live section of the channel. Maybe you've got here from a post in the community tab. So that's the plan. I am going to sort that out. The audio is probably... I don't know why I'm good about the negative. No. So here's the situation. My party are exploring an adventure in a place called... They're looking for a place called the Institute. If you're my players... Oh, I can put the music back on. Yeah, and then we turn the music on like this. There you go. Please use keyframe frequency of 4 seconds or less. Keyframes are not currently being sent enough. Oh, well, that's concerning. Stream. Output? Is that what it wants? General? Oh, is it advanced? Current keyframes not being sent enough. Okay. Not in the vertical second. Stream? Is it in the stream section? No. Oh, it is very low quality, isn't it? Oh, it's not terrible. Ooh. Oh, you love an error when you're already live. Fun times. I think it might be to do with this. I'm not sure if I can change that while live. I think Discord. Shall we see if I load up my own channel while I'm live, and make sure that whatever comes out of this is not going to make any sound. That would be important. If I go to my channel, is it like cooked when I like watch it? It looks okay. Like, is the quality kind of ass? But like, what can you expect? Is it my end that's locked to 720p? Is that my bad? No, I've been recording in 1080p. I hope anyway. So I assume not. I think that might just be a YouTube thing. I'm not sure why it's yelling at me. Current keyframe sequence is 7.59. Okay. Should we see if we can find that in settings? What is it saying the error is? Keyframe frequency. What if I search for frequency in the settings of my beautiful, beautiful streaming app? Frequency. No? Aha. So I think this score. I think YouTube is lying to me because my software is telling me that we're all good. So I think YouTube is lying to me. Hello, 2 viewers. That's surprising. Unless I am 2 of those viewers, which is entirely possible. But if you are one of the viewers, hello. Okie dokie. So let's get on with what we're doing. We're going to ignore YouTube unless it really starts screaming at me. So as I was saying, today in 6 hours, maybe I should have a timer on screen. If I've been smart, I'm not going to set it up. Don't worry. In 6 hours, I need to run the next session of this campaign. So let's talk about what they've been up to. I'll give you a quick, because this is a different game to the one I've been talking about on the other thing. Let me go back to my maps, and let's load up this one, which will probably take a second. And while it's loading up, I can do this. This is Incarnate. This is how I make my maps. So, if you're one of my players, by the way, you should leave, because, Lord, you're going to get the biggest spoilers. Oh, what's it doing now? There we go. See, this is what I was worried about, the way it's doing the secondary stream. It's a little weird. We'll worry about that. We'll worry about that later. Can I fix that? Yeah, it's not managing that second output properly. Well, who cares? The party started off in the town of Waldron. They're doing a hex crawl. If you've seen the Mystic Arts video, it's one of those. They are exploring a big old space of open territory. What they're looking for is this place, the Institute. It's a long lost research development area for some pretty cool people, for 2 of the big factions in my world. They're not particularly good or bad factions, they're just kind of factions, right? And what they don't know, and this is the big spoilers, is that the Institute discovered something called, if you know Draw Steel Law, the body banks, where the war dogs were created. And one of the other houses, this group up here, killed everyone who knew about it and took it for themselves because it's all part of their evil master plan, which is basically Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars Episode 3, which I get is not the best movie, but it's a great plot to steal for your Draw Steel game, or D&D game if that's what you're running. Just any TTRPG, really. It's a lot hard to steal plots. There's a lot of things that are bad in movies that are great in games. So, slap. So, oh, good song. They had some chats with the people there. They wandered up the river, and recently, after finding this very weird ruin that they're still confused about, here they met some locals who think that the players are gods. They think all high elves are gods. For plot reasons that the players don't know about. I need to fix that issue with this map. Just noticed that one. Is that better? Oh, I remember why that's not that way around, yeah. Cool. So, these guys think they're gods. They were very confused by that, didn't like it. They found here this ruin full of undead. They don't know why there's undead there. They're confused by that as well. And they went up to this tower. And in this tower, they found this big old telescope thing. And after some puzzling, they were able to turn it off. And it showed that it showed them that there's something in this area which is being protected, which they already knew. But they figured out, oh, this tower is doing this. Then they walked along the mountains, and they got to this tower where they met a group of rebels who were like, aha, we know that you're not gods because we killed one of you and we have their shit. And the players were like, oh, can we see? And they were like, oh, no, it's Fenrons. And they were very sad. Then they had a whole chat with them, and those guys think that there are 6 of them, which is correct. And they only know the location of these 3 for certain. So the players are heading to this one to try and turn it off as well. They've turned off 2 of them. They want to try and turn off a 3rd one. That's because they really want to gain access to this place. What the players don't know is that is not the only way to get access to this place, which is something I want to introduce because I think they're starting to like settle on this plan, and I don't. My players need reminding that they have options because they're quite bad at going, oh, but you told us to do this thing, so this must be the thing we have to do, which is not always the best thing. So I know the two other ways to get to the place they want to go to, because that's the whole point of this quest, is get here. Is option number one. There is a villain based from this tower here who definitely has access, but it's like a personal thing. It's not like a thing that you could take. It's like he'd have to show you way. But he's a pretty evil dude. In a lot of ways. He's got reasons for being evil. Is this still what I wanted to be? Yes, be surprised, good. He's got some reasons for being evil, but that doesn't stop him being evil. Now, it's the players I'm expecting to be less interested in wanting to work with him. But that is an option. And finally, up here, they have a third way to gain access, which is these guys. They're the people who were controlling the banks for a long time. They only fully lost... They have lost control of it, but they still have a way to access it, because sometimes they have to fight their way in, get some notes out or something they need. So these guys definitely have a way to teleport in. So I need the players to, now that they're figuring stuff out, their players need to know that this guy has a way to get into the banks, and they need to know of the existence of this place, because then they can presume. This is probably the best access route, because it would be the fastest, but it would be one of the harder to get to. This obviously has its downside. Turning off all the towers is going to be pretty hard, right? So the players are currently heading here, and while I know I can probably spin together a session of stuff happening between here and there, what we need to do is we need to just figure out, I need a map of this city, I need to figure out what's going on in the city, and I need to figure, and I've got a plan for this, a quest related to here. So, if we go over to the Obsidian, ta-da, let me just check to see if YouTube's still yelling at me. Yeah, this is weird that it's doing this. Not much I can do. Sag. Yes, so, the city. The city is called Esmonde. Sorry, I write these names down before I know how to say them. Esmonde. And if you are a real OG of the channel, like a real OG, you're going to recognize this format, for sure. But you should be a real OG. But this is the stuff I figured out when I was filming last night and decided that this would be better as a stream. So, they worship... There's the tower that the players want to turn off. These guys worship as, like, their religious symbol. It's the place of the creators. This town is run by a theocracy. The head of the church is the head of the town. They live in big fear of the necromancer to the north. They're ruled by the religious elite. I want them to have some hardline rules around clothes and manners. I'm thinking they're, like, forbidden from singing or having music. I think that's a pretty good one. I'm kind of planning to place this on, like, Ollie Cromwell from the UK. That's kind of my energy I want to go for. And I think the way I don't want the players to be able to walk in and do anything, because I think that would be weird. I don't think that's how these guys would see it. I think this group sees the players as, like, the elite originally see creatures like the elves as demigods, because I think that there must have been some elves who have come to this land beforehand, right? It can't be that while they could have kept 99% of them, like, even North Korea can't keep everyone in North Korea, like, some people are going to get in and out. So we need to have a way to kind of simulate that, right? So my plan is that I think they're going to think the players are demigods. They're going to be like, oh, you are definitely of the gods, but you yourselves are not the gods themselves. So that's a big part of it. Then the next thing I prepped was, what's the problem? The necromancer wants to destroy the city. I think this needs to be an immediate thing. Like, I think they have intelligence. The necromancer is building some sort of force to come destroy the city. They've known about this for a while. It's building. If the players can solve that problem, they can solve everything. But I don't want to make it that easy for the players, because the adventure here we're doing is a hex crawl. So this needs to involve going around to different locations. It can't just be turn up and stop an invasion. So what is the second problem that is going to be there? And my prep is, that I was thinking about last night falling asleep, is that the leader and high guard are missing. So this is where this other tower comes in, right? My plan is that the Leader went to the ruin to look for info. That's kind of where we're at. That's all I've got currently. I'm actually going to move you. Oh. Yeah, I know the microphone unplugged. There we go. I love it. It gave me a warning to tell me that the microphone is unplugged as I hit it by accident. Genius, genius. Ooh. Too many tabs. Cool. Back to what I was doing, now that I fixed that problem. Oh, sorry, give me a sec. One moment, please. I am having issues. One moment. Give me one moment. Okay. Back to what I was doing. So, they went to the room for looking for information. They took the guard with them. It was a trap. Now they are under siege / prisoners. The idea of this is that there's two things. One, it means the players, when they get to the city, they have a problem to solve, right? To do the thing they want to do, they have to do this thing, which is good because it will mean that the players do something that they want to do. They will they have a thing they want to do, and they're going to solve it, right? And to achieve their goal, they're going to have to solve it. So that's the intention here, right? It also has the bonus that this means if they meet the High Lord when he's in the city at the top of his tower, he is going to be thinking about politics and saying the right thing and looking good and not being crazy. Whereas if they meet him when they've just rescued him, he can be a little bit more candid. He can tell them what's actually going on. And one of the things I've been thinking about is I think the leader knows this is not, knows that something fishy is going on and the elves are not the creators, right? One of the themes I'm going with in this adventure is I want a lot of the people in power are hiding the truth from the normal people because it's really awful, right? All of these people were basically created in a lab experiment and then have been kept in this area of the world prisoner for generations, like 1,000 years, because they haven't been able to guarantee that they could, the elves haven't been able to, wipe them all out. They couldn't guarantee it would work. So they're being a bit risky about it. They're not necessarily doing what would be the good thing, which would be just, let's set them all free, because the people who are in charge of this are bad people, right? That's part of the design. So I know that some of the powerful people, like the Necromancer, he definitely knows that this is what's going on. That's why he went insane and has become a bit evil, is because he's really mad. He's like, how could this happen to me? This sucks. This is awful. I hate it. I want to burn everything to the ground in revenge. The gnolls that are experiments on dogs, they don't, and they want to destroy everything. But the lizard folk and the half orcs, it's deliberately half orcs because it's experimentation, right? They don't know. The majority of them are living in blissful ignorance, and kind of the reason for that is the reason they're able to function is because they think they have this religion, and instead of believing seeing the truth, they have this religion where they're like, okay, there's gods that hate us and we have to stay here so they don't murder us, right? And that's been reinforced by the fact that every time one of them tries to leave, they die. But I think that the players know that isn't the case, and I think if the players meet everyone and they all think that, they're going to treat anyone who doesn't know that, treats that as reality, as stupid, and won't engage with them as a character. So I think the religious leader thinks that the elves are kind of semi-godlike, but knows that there's something else fishy going on here, that there's something happening. And so if the players save him, he will be able to talk to them and go, look, I know that if we can bring down the portal, you could go destroy the banks, but, right? And I think the but's going to be, but the necromancer exists. And I think I've just had the idea now, as I'm talking to you, future viewer, and current viewer, apparently, that I know that I want the leaders. They have used the tower, I think, is what's just come to be. They've used the tower to make a protection over the city. So if the players take down the tower to get into the banks, the necromancer is going to be able to attack. I think that's what's probably going on, and that makes a lot of sense. So that is what we're going to work on today. I've just realised that. Let's write that down. Necromancer wants to destroy the city. They have used tower to protect themselves from this. If the tower is turned off, the necromancer will attack. Cool. So what would that kind of, I feel like what that would kind of look like in the actual session is like, you know, there would probably be like waves after waves while it's down. So maybe somewhere, if we have like a secondary problem to this, way to stop protecting banks but protect town. Maybe there's something the players could get, some item they need that would allow them to change it. Maybe it's a downtime project. Maybe they spent a few respites in this town doing that. Maybe that could happen. That could be cool. I think as well this could be interesting because maybe this stops undead, and that might affect one of the characters who's a revenant. Or maybe you have to be let in, and they might not let them in because they're a revenant. That could be interesting. But that's an interesting point there, isn't it? That there might be something they can do to kind of like change that. Okay. What do we need to do first? So we kind of have the vague outline. The first thing I need, because this is the thing that's the most important to run this session immediately, is I'm going to need a map of the city. A lot of the time when I'm prepping a city, I need a map to base it on. So we need this view, and we need to make a map of the city. So I'm going to start off. My normal process for making a city is you've got to get the landscape in. As we've seen on that map, this is a very dry city. So I know an important thing here is water. And I've had the idea that they've built some sort of aqueduct that carries water into the city. Which I should look up. There might be something interesting there. Aqueducts to cities Roman. Because I know the Romans could do it. So if the Romans can do it, I'm sure people could figure it out. That is the most silly thing I've said, but yes. Okay, I get it. Aqueducts are an old thing. We're good. We can do this. Right. So, first things first, we need hills. And if anyone's used this, the hills in this view are terrible. So you want these ones. You want the fancy battle maps. You want the hills. They're really, really good. I can't type. For any map shape, really. And my favourite way to get terrain on a map these days is the brush. I don't know, I've really, really got into it recently. Because you can just go, ooh, I want like a hill over here somewhere. Right? And it just fills it in. I find it really, really good for that. I always press that the wrong way around. I find it just really useful. That's my personal preference at the moment. It's also quite... The only thing it struggles with is like, when you go to the edge of the map, it does this. But I find an easy way to solve that is you just go like that. Right? But this is not the shapes I want. Oops. I want... I know this map, right? I know that... Oh, good song. I know that there's the hill over here where the tower's built, right? The city kind of backs onto it, right? And I think that I want the city to kind of be built in rings around the tower. So if we imagine quickly, if I get rid of this and I do something a little bit smaller, and I say, I imagine that like the tower sits on a little outcropping into the city here. This might even be man-made. We might discover that later, right? Like, so like this. And then I fill the rest of it in with cliff. And we just make that a tad bigger like this, right? And then I imagine that the rest of the city is built somewhat, we don't want to merge shapes, good. It's somewhat built on kind of rings around the city, right? We've got these like platforms. I've been deliberately, because this is quite a mountainous area, I've been deliberately trying to base this a little bit on like ink and stuff. It's kind of been my inspiration. So that's kind of the vibe I've been going for up until now. Make that a tiny bit bigger, and then we use this tool to get rid of this size. Nope, I want to get rid of this bit here. Might be smarter to do this with a line actually. Might be the easier way. Yeah, I think this is probably a line problem. So let's use the brush thing, and we go. So we've got layer 1, layer 2. Let's have a third layer like this, and then let's have a little secondary hill over here. Maybe something that some other group, something else other than the religious people. This is probably the second area of power. I know that I want, if we go back to we don't want to be in Fantasy Battle Map anymore, we want to go back to Watercolor City. I know that I want an aqueduct. Is there anything aqueducty? Is there anything in the entire, why does this exist? There's nothing. Is there anything aqueducty? No? Okay. So what do we have to work with here that we could use to like show an aqueduct currently? I'm looking at that platform bridge and immediately thinking that looks like an aqueduct. Wide stone bridge, this could work. Should I be in Watercolor City or? Yeah, Watercolor City, cool. So what if we do like, what if we say there's like an aqueduct coming into the city to bring water in? That's looking pretty good, because I think what I can do is add in like a water texture in there, right? Ooh, oh, I need the land brush. I can actually do this like this is probably the easier way because of how this map type is set up. Oh no, I do have to do it that way because that's got the opacity thing going on. Cool. There we go. Oh, I go silent while I'm drawing. Cool. So, if we know the aqueduct is bringing water to the city, how do aqueducts end? Where do aqueducts end into? Aqueduct end. Do they just like drop into lakes or something? Oh, so you go over a lowland, you bring water from somewhere higher up, and then you just like dump it into a lake. Yeah? Ah, alright. I see. Cool. So we can then assume that somewhere in this city we have, maybe here, we have some sort of lake reservoir thing going on here that the aqueduct pours into. Maybe we can put a little if I do this one and the brush, make it a little bit smaller, we can do like a little lake here. Other way around, please. I'll do that there. It should be under the bridge. There you go. All of these textures might be too big. We'll find out in a bit, right? Ooh, I've painted into that. Oops. So we do that, and then we go water here. Currently the depth's a bit off, but that's okay. Figure that out later, right? So we've got this little water place here. We know there's going to be a tower, so let's start placing some buildings. We know there's going to be a tower. That's a solid tower, we love that. So we know that's going to overlook the city. I know from something I described that I want there to be like bunting. I think I have bunting somewhere in this. Is it decorations? I know there was something like that once. No? I'll worry about that later. So, we have the big tower at the top of the city. Oh, I should lock a lot of this stuff in now. That we know where it is. Cool. So we have the big tower at the top of the city. What else did I put on my notes that we need to have in here? We need the tower. We need the church government area. So around the tower, where do the religious leaders live? Is there like a nice like palace token that we can use? That's not correct. Ooh, I've muted my mic. Nice. Enjoy the Discord sounds, people. There was something like that. I know. It's in buildings, maybe? Not modular buildings, special buildings. Is there a palace in special buildings? Taking sweet time to load today. Oh. Theatre, maybe some of these could work. Something like this Big Thieves Guild. That's a new one, I think, the Red Schoolhouse. Oh. This is not right for this. I want to build a city where this token gets used so bad. It's such a nice one. I know I want there to be a big church somewhere on this map. Right, it should be like pointing up here. Oh, look at that. That could work really well. The steps leading down to the water. Ooh, ooh. We're cooking. That's good. Well, that's not what we were trying to do. So where does the dude who's the religious leader here normally live? Right? He needs like some fancy ass building. Is there any like good elven ones that could be good? Ooh, we got boats, got buildings, fire skill, big fire skill. No, I don't think it's dwarven is what I'm looking for at all. Maybe that. How does that look? Does that look cool? I kind of like how it matches the style. I think probably that the leader lives over here. Is this like the government area over here where like, okay, I know that we've got the, where it's like, yes, obviously it's all about the religion and all of the fun stuff there, but the government probably sits somewhere else to be away from that to have its own space. So I wonder if that could be it. So we know that. We know that's the kind of main thoroughfare. We have the water that the city relies on. What else do we put on the map? We want... Where is the main area of the city where people actually live, right? We know that if a tower's projecting some sort of safety, I know I want the city to be relatively circular in the like general shape of it, where people come in and out of it. But if that's the government, where is the like main living area, and what sort of buildings do we want to use? That's the question. Buildings. Any particular style? I think it's probably just gonna be the bog standard buildings for this city, but I don't want. I know I want part of it to be pretty tightly packed, but I don't want all of it to be tightly packed, right? Like, we don't need the whole thing to be here. And this is a bit big. How big did I make this scale? 150? Maybe we do a little bit bigger. We should get bigger as we go up for that verticality look. If that's 160, let's make this 160 as well. And then how big does that make our buildings if we're using 160 there? Oh, pretty good. I like that. I don't want to use block sizes that big though. So I think that probably this area is reserved for like religious things. We might have a graveyard on one side. I think this is probably, here is probably where a lot of people live. Partly because you want to be close to the water would be my understanding of how cities work. Right, if we've got this man-made structure of the water, that's how people are able to live here. We've got this like height thing. I think there's probably, I could do the most classical fantasy thing ever and be like, oh yes, the people on the upper level look down upon the people of the lower level, and we have the slums right on the bottom. I don't think I want to do that because I feel like that is the most cliched bit of world building imaginable. And even if I already got a few hours to prep this in, I don't want it to be too cliched. How does that look? Does that feel about right? And then we can end it in some bigger block maybe. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Can we do, does this style have? Yes. Probably get like a few houses in here and here. And we can assume that's where whatever protective force field this is casting. Ooh, maybe it should go out like a line. If we draw the lines on, we know this is creating a protective force field. That's how it's doing it. Ooh. So, how do I do lines? My brain is imploding. Dotted lines. Let's get a little line going out like this, so we can kind of see what this might look like. If we did that as the protective area, probably needs to be a square, right? Because otherwise the city's going to look a bit... If this is the map of the city, then it should probably be on here. So can we do like a square from here? And then rotate it to line up nicely with those 2 points of the tower. Ba, 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 ba. That would be a pretty good shape. That would be a pretty good shape for the city. If we can get the city in there, and it will also, if we use that square, it will give it a really, really distinctive look. Because it's going to look funky. If it's just a square with no wall, it's protected by that, not by anything else. It gives it a really nice distinctive look, which I think the players will remember. They will definitely call it Minecraft City if it's a square, but I don't care. If they remember it, that's chill. And that works quite nicely, because now we have a more interesting divide, right? Because you know how we were just saying how it's really bad if the most cliche fantasy builder thing ever is to have your city be like, oh, the poor people live at the top, at the bottom, and the rich people live at the top and look down upon the poor people. Like, every single person, every single thing I've ever seen has done that in some regard, right? Right? But now we have an interesting one, that we might be able to do this, and then we'd have, like, I don't really have a good slums token right now. Right, if we imagine that these are the not so nice houses because they're yellowing, I get rid of them, and I delete all of the work I've just done. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. If we imagine that would then mean you could do something fun like, oh, this is the not so nice place to live because if there is an attack coming, these people are not protected. And the players, and that's going to immediately look a bit funky because if I put this right here, and we have this, and we have some really fancy buildings right on the water's edge, right? Because posh people, right, would love this. Nice buildings all the way around. The players are going to look at that, and without the dotted line, which they're definitely not going to see, that's for us creators here. That's going to look pretty weird. I think that should sell it to the players, and that'll answer that. I think what we might need is this tower. There was a couple different shapes of the tower, so maybe we need some smaller ones on the corners, like something like this, right? This is probably whatever they've built. It probably shouldn't look the same on the map as that tower then, because that's the old one. So if we use a much older tower... Oh, is that right? What are the tower options? What do you think? If you're watching, and I haven't scared you too much by talking to you directly, what do you think? Yeah, if they've built, like, something like... Imposing tower? Is there a square... Ooh, can I rotate these to look just about right? Is there any way to... No, not quite the right shape. Not wooden. Is there any interesting... No, those are just circles and squares. Maybe it's just like... These seem a bit small though. A little bit smaller than I wanted. Definitely not that. Oh, we have square. We have square. That's probably what we want. Let's get this bang in like that. I'm going to quickly, after I paste these, boot up my main thing and check that there's not some weird integration where stream OBS is might be refusing to show me chats. No, we're okay. It's not that I can't, I'm ignoring people. So that sells that, right? We'll leave the dotted line on for us, right? And we'll know that the city is, this is the safe bit of the city where if there was to be an attack from the necromancer who we talked about earlier, he would come, you would not be protected if you lived here. So now let's think about the structure of the city, right? We know that this is a very religious place, that this church is probably one of the most important things, right? We know this is the other important thing. So there probably needs to be some sort of major road in the city. This is obviously this is above this level, roughly, I think. Or do you think it's above this level down below? I think it's already raised here, right? I think it drops the water in like that. So I think that... No, it should probably just be raised on this bit of it, and then that bit is a river. So if we go here and we change the line section and we bring that back like this, and then we just need a slightly different line for that. Castle and Bridges, was that where we found it? Where did we find our beautiful, beautiful wall? Stone wall bridge, right? And then we go like this. And if that section was... If this section should be a little bit bigger, right? Because it's more imposing. So we make that like 140%. How does that look? No, that's opacity. What am I doing? Make that a little bit wider like that. And then make this bit a little bit smaller sized. And then I want to make that like 80. It goes in like that, and we bring it below it, and we can add a shadow in later. But the key here, I've realised what I should be doing. If I flip this around, yeah, there you go. Now it shows the depth. Look at me. Actually doing stuff. So we know that's going to be where the channel kind of leads into there. Should then, actually, probably what would make this look better is if we go to, where did I lock it in? This one here, and we change that out to be like this. This one here. And we flip it around. That's probably what we need, because now this looks like a little man-made basin, which is what it is, right? There's no natural water here. Add some additional lines in. Add an additional line in. That needs to be the other way around. And we just need to make sure that these line up with the edge nicely. And then we take the circle, which I've locked like a doodle, and we make a little gap We make a little gap. We make a little gap. Probably don't want this one to make caps because it is got the other caps, so that we can get that to just line up nicely. There we go, and then we can fix up the water a little bit so it looks nicely. Nice bit of grass there. And then we need to make sure that where is the that layer of cliff? Is it this one here? No. Is it this cliff here? No, it must be this cliff. Why is this not letting me select this? Let's unlock everything. Cool, because that's the one I need to go down because it's currently above it. There we go. Cool. Perfect. That's what I wanted to do. So, now that we know this, we know that there probably isn't a road going across this bit, but there might be a road that comes around like this. So if we just get out a nice colour just for like a gentle road. Desert stone, street stone, sandy ground, beige dirt. Let's use that. Right, I don't know that for my roads. So let's go around like this, and we'll say there's one road that probably loops around from here, maybe in a nice little crescent up to the main building, and there's probably another road that comes down this way, goes under the aqueduct, and goes up to the main bit like this. These are probably the two main streets, right? Because we know that this city was made, right? We know that the people, well, I don't know if you know, so I know that they built the city because of the tower, but they would have had to build the aqueduct first. So whoever built this city probably had a little bit of like time already, right? This was not entirely planned, so this should probably be a little bit uniform. There should be some like maybe block shapes. That's normally the way to sell that. So what if we say that we know that like the religious people, this here is like probably like I feel like maybe parkland, right? This is like a protected area. So we might put some trees up here, and then right below it is probably like in front of where the water's been brought in. This is probably like a pretty nice place to live. I like this, the idea of that being the like, this right here being the super posh area, right on this corner of the city here, by this big main thoroughfare. This is probably where some of the poshest people live, and probably where the nice shops are. And that restaurant that I prepped last time is right, so we know that's the really nice area. The buildings would probably be built, I feel like the grid would probably be what everything else is built of. It's like either the aqueduct or it's this grid here. So if we do something like this, that building fits in nicely with the hill but also the grid, and we can slide this one in between them. Beautiful. Should make sure some of this stuff is locked again now before I break it, so we can continue that off. Am I ending up doing the hill thing that I was making fun of before? I feel like I am a little bit. I will check to make sure there's nothing catastrophically wrong. Cool. Ooh, that's a nice block. I like that. Maybe a little bit big, but I like it as general. Can we get one in there that would fit in nicely? Ooh, that one flipped the other way. It might fit in perfectly. Right there. Pretty much bang on. Kinda? Maybe. Okay. I'm going to I need to make a new scene because I need to take a 1 second break. Be right back, screen. And add you. And add the text. Let's do that so the people know. Okay. One moment, people. turn my mic back on. Hello, I return. I think I have enough. Just been thinking in the bathroom, right? And obviously, it's only me and you. I went to the bathroom. Video on demand, people. And I've realised that this is a bad stream content. I think I'm too slow at making maps for this to be good to watch. So, what we're going to do is, we're going to go back to making notes. And I'm going to make the map by myself because I'm faster. It's not interesting to watch. And that's what I've realised doing this. So, me and you, the people, if people join, I'll go back to talking to them. And I'm going back to talking to you, future people. So, lesson learned. We're going to go to the obsidian, and I'm going to do the notes I can without making a visual map. And then I will spend time making the map myself later. Because map making is a long and laborious task, which I don't think is super interesting based on the fact that people arrived and left very quickly. Because when I was making notes, they stayed. So, we're going to save this. It'd be amazing right now if Streamlabs was not showing me my viewer numbers. There was like 6 people watching going, what? We love this. What are you talking about? While it saves, I'm just going to do something, make sure everything's working fine. Cool. Right, so we can tab out that, and we can go to this. And we can go back to doing this fun thing. So, if I go here, there you go. Look at me fading in. So, what can we prep in this place? What can we write down that we know? I feel like I should write down about the leader. So let's start with the church government. I know the leader. Let's write about the leader. Way to stop protecting banks but protect town. Yep, for the tower. And then the second thing it needs to be able to do, the other option would be destroy the necromancer, right? But the first thing is, who is the leader? Let's answer this question. Let's do leader Esmonda. That's not what I wanted. There we go. Let's go here and let's do Control T. No, not that one. This one. NPC sheet. If you're watching this in the future, people, this is from the book that I listened to, an audio book. That's why I don't know why I was looking to see if I could put it on my shelf. I don't have books up there, not mine. It's this format with a very small change I made is from the book. So you want to be a dungeon master, which is amazing. I would highly recommend reading it. The audiobook's not great, but the book has some really good stuff in it. It's very detailed, which is very great. It's very detailed, which makes it very bad at the same time. So, what does the leader look like in my head? I know they're a lizard folk, right? I know that they're old because to go up through the ranks of the religion, I know they has silly hat. I know that for certain. Should we look at some Ollie Cromwell inspired, like, what did Ollie Cromwell people wear? Cromwell. Did he wear funny things? Ah, no, he's a Puritan. It's a bit boring, isn't it? It's a bit boring. You know. The collar is pretty good, but like, not quite enough. I need like, this is like the level of silly hats I want, you know? Like, this is the stuff we need, right? This is the kind of silly hats I'm talking about. Like, I'm talking about like Eastern Orthodox, Pope-ass silly hats. Ooh, Control Z. I don't want to get rid of that. You know, one thing I hate about Obsidian is how it handles images. Like, my lord, it's not it, chief. So, if we know Big Man is like dressed like this guy, I think I'm just gonna steal this design. I have one player who knows Eastern Orthodox stuff, and will find it funny that I'm stealing that stuff, not deeply offensive. So hopefully you've not been deeply offended by this video, dear viewer. So, if he's this dude, he's this dude but a lizard folk. I feel like this dude but lizard folk. I feel like that works. This also tells me about the people around him. Role-playing. How do I imagine the leader is? What's his vibe? We can give him a name. Should we give him a name? He should have a name. I need, like, a Spanish name. Spanish name generator, because that's what I use. Oh, that's a good name. Albert. What's like a religious title? We need a good religious title. Venerable and stuff, like venerable. Oh, the most revered, very revered, father, mother, servant of God. Venerable, his all / holiness. His eminence, used for metropolitan eminence. Oh yes, Albert. His eminence. What a thing. What's like the first word? Do we just call him a pope? Do I just make him a pope? I don't like the word pope. What's like a title for a religious leader? We don't want that stuff. We want name for leader of religion. Name of religious leaders. Oh. No, not founders. I want like the names. Pope, patriarch, archbishop, cardinal, elder. Elder works quite well. Elder's the kind of vibe we want. So, Elder Albert, His Eminence, and that's a solid religious name. I feel like my players are gonna love this guy. So, what is his gesture? I feel like, so the gesture is something that the NPC does each time, like regularly, so the players know they're talking to them. Like some NPCs do this. From the previous video, Marco talks like this, and that's more of an accent, but it's enough that it's almost a gesture, even though I break it out quite a lot. But what could be his gesture? I feel like calling people like his I feel like he's like child. I feel like he calls people children a lot. Is this music the correct music? Am I about to get copyright striked? Oh. Well, that could be a problem that it stopped playing. I hope that wasn't too long ago that it started doing that. Oh, this is the first song. We're okay. Hopefully I've not been taken off the internet. I need to turn off autoplay on YouTube to avoid this problem. How do we do that? That's the real question for the ages. How to turn off autoplay on YouTube. Music. Bum, bum. Playback. Dynamic cue. There we go. I think that's okay. Good. No, it's autoplay is what the problem is. Turn off autoplay, just so I don't get taken down, please. Where do I turn off autoplay? Please let me turn off autoplay, YouTube. YouTube music. Why? Why must you autoplay? Repeat, no. Shuffle, no. Ooh, I didn't mean to skip the song. Okay, we'll just be careful. I'll have to keep an eye on that. In about 50 minutes time, I'll have to make sure that doesn't happen again. Has YouTube told me off? No, we're okay. So the cool children. He's like, "Are my children?" I feel like, what else? What else might he do? What else is his kind of vibe? I think maybe, I feel like maybe when he's like meeting someone, there's like a thing about like touching the religious leader for good luck. So I feel like he offers a lot of handshakes and he like reaches out and touches people because he thinks his job is his like religious training is that gives people good luck. So I feel like pats shoulders and shakes hand a lot. Vibe, old man, very studious. I know that he's going to be like thinking a lot and very I need to think deeply about things. Takes his sweet time. This is not a man. This man is going to be an antagonist to the players because they're going to be like, we need to do something. And he's going to be like, let me think about it. How long do you need to think about it? Can I have a week if he thinks about it quickly, you know? Speaking cadence, this is something I remind myself a lot because I talk fast all the time. And I constantly have to remind myself to talk slow. So, now we need a background for him. So, he... I feel like he needs to be like, he was probably born to a cardinal, but that's not the final name, so put in brackets cardinal in the church, studied at a monastery somewhere away a little bit. He needs to have, like, travelled. Became leader of the church in the city. Was first to be chosen as elder from the main church in 100. They've only been around 1,000 years, so let's say 86 years. Was 67 when appointed. Is 70 now. Has some illness. Knows he only has a few years left. Probably something like cancer. You know, he knows he's dying. I think that could help the players because he wants to do good things before it's too late. This is what his life's been building up to. I think aha, right, now I've got ideas about the necromancer. He knew the necromancer at the monastery. He was friends. Agreed a lot with him. Doesn't know why he went insane. This is important because I want to make sure that the players know that the necromancer is the good guy, right? If you remember what I was saying earlier about them, I want them to know that he can be reasoned with. I want the necromancer to... The gnolls are the only exclusively... The gnolls and the elves in the north are the two exclusively evil... You can't talk to them under any circumstances, they will hate you. Groups, but this guy, he can be reasoned with, for sure, definitely can. So, you know, someone might have sent a message, and I think that my YouTube is claiming that someone sent a message, and I think that my system might never have shown it. So if you're, yeah, it's showing me. It's, Lord, have mercy upon me. I really hope that's not what's happened. That would suck. You have to open a chat window to read if I need to send a message in chat. Okay, but I should be able to see it. Hopefully, now I've got it set to live stream. Hopefully. We'll hope. We can live it. We can hope that is the case. Yeah, weird times. Unless it was just YouTube automatically sending stuff. That's an entirely possible thing. Sorry, first time doing this. I'm learning all of the information YouTube gives me. So, if you're here, I'm very sorry. Hello, video on demand person. I'm very sorry that you're having to listen to this. So, that's answered some questions. What does he know about the Institute? Or the banks, as he'd call it. The banks. Knows that it is real. He has spoken with it in his dreams. This is important because I wonder if the players are going to start questioning at some point, is the banks a real god? And he also should know about Saint Manuele, which I've not mentioned yet. I'll have to explain that to you at some point. Knows it's real. Knows it makes evil things must be contained and or destroyed. Has read a few pages. Never understood much of it. Has seen his spirit. His life was saved by it. Right, so Saint Manuele is the patron saint who's supposed to be the person who protects the banks from the players. from the rest of the world. He's the person who built these towers in the mythology, and he's definitely a real dude. He's definitely a person who exists. Going back here, right? We now know so the leader and the High Guard are missing. They are in some sort of ruin. In the ruin it's the same design as the previous one that I had before, but we won't worry about that now. So we know there's going to be main room, back room, secret room. I think that he is... I think that they're here and they're defending it from... There's like some undead. Or they've been captured by some undead who are holding the leader. I think the guards are all dead, right? I think the guards have been murdered, right? Guards dead. Elder Albert is being held until the necromancer arrives. So if the players go here, they'll find fight, hostage in back, secret room, teleportation circle to Elven base is broken. So that's basically everything we need to know. I have the map already because I can reuse the same map because I know that they are a standardized design. That's one of the things I want to show is it's standardized. The players should be able to figure out, oh, if this isn't the only standardized thing. So this is the next thing to prep then, right? We know the Elder. We know we should probably prep the Necromancer in case he turns up, but I don't think that would happen yet because we've got a lot. I can worry about that for next time, right? Because I'm running tonight. So let's say the fight. Let's prep the fight out. So if we open up, I should have had this ready, but draw steel monsters. If I bring this over here, we can go with this. So we're going to switch over now. Dangerous, I know, but we're going to switch over. Instead of doing this, we're going to add in a window capture, which I should have set up before. I knew there'd be a point where I just want to capture my whole screen. No, not a window capture, display capture. Display. Display capture. Yes, I want to capture. Yep. There we go, beautiful. We want that behind that. We can close this, we don't need to be capturing this anymore. Ta-da! There you go. Beautiful. So, the monsters book. First of all, I need to remind myself how this works. So the players have like 4 or 5 victories at this point, if I remember correctly. But my prep is that that's not how this should work. I prepped a while ago that I didn't want this area to have dynamic, like, encounter design, because I felt like that meant every encounter the players could be like, yeah, we know we're going to win, we're fine. I wanted it to be a little bit more interesting than that, if that makes sense. I wanted them to have to, what's the right word I'm looking for? It's not, oh shit, you can see what I'm looking at now. Oops. Hope you didn't get any major things I shouldn't have shown there. I'll have to check that in the thing. I think no one's watching, isn't it? Checking my notes. I know that I want him to... What was I thinking before I got distracted by making that mistake? Brain. Yes, right. I have notes somewhere where I made a note of what the difficulty should be depending on who they're fighting. Let me see if I can find it. Not the session things. Message players handout. Is it something in the random encounters? No. Is it just in the institute where I prepped the difficulty of the encounters? Somewhere at the bottom, maybe? No. Won't be in rewards. Combats! There we go. Overview. So this is an undead combat. So it should be 60, and this is a -10 because the players are going to, because it's a ruin and the necromancer is not there. He's not included. It's not their second fight in a row, so I have about 50 EV to spend, which checks out, I think, with what we're doing. I'll risk this again. Checks out. They're free. They're 6 level things. So 50 is going to be a little bit low. So, given the leader is there and this is more important, I might put this up to 70, right? They've got some victories, but I don't need to, like, murder them. So I think I'm going to aim for about 70 because this is a slightly special situation. This is part of a different adventure. It's not just a general wandering around. It's the ruin, but something else is going on there. So if we go for, like, 70, that would check out. What are the monsters we want to use? We want to use undead. Looking at kind of the second echelon stuff. So I know this room is relatively small, so I don't want too many things in here, right? Perhaps the necromancer has sent some sort of left lieutenant to guard. That could be fun. I want this to be a harder fight, so maybe I should put the ghost in here. The ghost can be quite fun. I've not used a ghost with this group, so if we go back to what we were prepping before, the main room, we're aiming for 70 EV. Let's start off with ghost, 12 EV. Good start, good start. So that's the leader. What does this want to do? It's the frontline fighter. No, it wants to be ranged. It needs some frontline fighters in front of it. This is echelon 1, so we could go a lot. I could make a different map, I guess, and have more room to play with, and then have a lot of undead. Because at 70, how many undead would that be? 70, I'm looking around my microphone, divided by 3. 23 is not too bad, if it's actually 58 divided by 3. So 20 undead. Not including minions. That could be quite a fun encounter, actually. I feel like the players would have fun wading through that many undead. I could have, like, 1 bruiser at the front. The zombie was pretty fun last time. Have a couple of these 6 EV ones in there. As frontline fighters. Have a mummy. They're quite fun, aren't they? If bleeding and weakened and allies get a strike against... Ooh, that's fun. Yep, so we're going to have... we have the leader, then we have the 2 mummies. 2 mummies, 12 EV. So that is 58, 46 EV left at that point. So how many is 46 divided by 3, if I'm doing that right? Yeah, I am. Trust my math, 46 divided by 3. So we're looking for 15 other undead, right? What can we throw in there as some fun of these lower level ones? We could have... I feel like we need some... Do we have any... Are there any controllers? No. The spectres are quite fun, if I remember correctly. This is the soul rights. The target regains 10 stamina. The soul right can't use the maneuver until they strike a creature with their steel longsword. That could be quite fun for keeping the ghost alive. So let's put in, of our 15, let's put in like 4 soul rights. 4 soul rights. That is another 12 EV. Apparently I'm only using units of 12 EV. Well, that's quite fun because now I can keep everything balanced, can't I? So if I do another 3 units of 3 units of 12 EV, that's 16. That's about what we were looking for, right? Yeah, perfect. And hits it nicely. Hits what the players need. Like, make the encounter nice and balanced for them. They're each worth 12 EV, which is good. So, don't want rotting zombies. I feel like I should just have some ghouls and some skeletons. That's always quite fun. I don't really love the skeleton stat block, though, but otherwise I have no ranged characters. So yeah, let's do ghouls and skeletons. So we'll do 4 ghouls, 12 EV, 4 skeletons, 12 EV. We need one more group. What's the final group do we want to do? Do we want to do more small things? We could do some ambushes, but that's not really what they're doing, because they're going to be defending a guy. Could have some minions, some bigger minions. Or we could have a flesh maudling. These were quite fun last time. I did like them. Vampire spawn, maybe? Yeah, I think some flesh maudlings. 2 of those would be fun to round that out. 2 flesh maudlings, 12 EV. So that is 12 times 6. Have I got that about right? Have I been doing my job correctly? No, that's 12 divided by 6. 12 times 6. 72. Bang on what we wanted. So that'll be the fight in the main room. I'll design that later. Hostage in the back is the leader. this is also fun because it mirrors the last encounter they had, so they'll be able to use that information from last time. The teleportation circle. What is the teleportation circle project out thing in Can you show me the heroes book, please? Microsoft, I beg. I know it's a downtime project, is the teleportation circle. Crafting. Craft teleportation circle. Craft teleportation 1500 text in vol. 3x3 square teleportation platform by a supernatural password. So it would be a question of getting the supernatural password, wouldn't it? I might just make that, if I made that the saying of the house they don't like, they'd be able to figure that out, I reckon, if I gave them enough information. But do I want that? So it needs to be repairable. So I think maybe if it's like 500 points away from being repaired, that might give them a reason to bring some of them. Some of them have retainers they could bring in to help build this. One spatial navigator. Where could they find one of those? That could be fun. So they need it's 250 points worth of work, but they need to find this thing, which has been taken. That's fun because then they could go to the necromancer and try to bargain for that, or if they defeat, he might be able to have it, or if they can't defeat him, they could sneak into his base. That could be fun. I love that. So, to Elven base, but it's broken. 250 points to fix. Need spatial navigator in necromancer's base. So we're talking about 250. That's like 2 recoveries if all the players worked in it, and they got their retainers in. So that's a pretty fun little dungeon. They could also stumble across this in a different order and not have to go to the town and find out about it, but we know what's in the town. We probably need a second NPC to talk to, because we know this guy isn't here. So who is the NPC in charge of the town currently? That's a good question. If we go back to this, you don't see anything crazy on my web browser. Let's make the leader, the person who's in charge when they're not there, Gemma Aranda. Sorry if you know how to actually say this name, because I probably just butchered it. NPC. Again, for anyone who's just joined us, this is oh, okay. YouTube implied to me there might be people here, but I think it's lying. Oh, that was total views, not concurrent views. Makes sense, makes sense. Anything of interesting? Right. So if you've probably already seen this. Oh, you're hello people who are still watching the stream back. I don't need to explain it to you again. And there's no one here live that I thought there was possibly, because YouTube was telling me weird things. So she also has. If we have that same image, do I have that saved? I'll be careful here. I don't. Right. She's like this dude in the back. I feel like that's what her hat is. Dude, just to the right. Gemma, I feel like, is younger. Maybe I feel like I want to be so special. Probably youngest person to reach leader of the city at 50. Right, she's not actually young. She's just young by the religious standards. Very ambitious. Has made a lot of enemies. Will probably never become elder because of it. Close with current elder. His preferred heir. Will take action. So she's probably an ally of the players. I think what I've just written there is the possibility that the players wanted to. They could probably have her have a coup and she'd be a leader who they steal with. So what does that kind of imply her gesture might be? I feel like she needs something a little bit. Maybe she calls people by their names. That could be fun. That could be a change. Calls people by their real names, not child / mother / father / elder. What's her vibe? I feel like kind of like friendly, kind of blunt and to the point. I don't feel like she's someone who's gonna like beat around the bush, you know? She's gonna be like, yeah, this is what we're doing and I'm gonna do it because. Faster speaker, right? You know who she is in my head right now? She's also Vicar of Dibley. That's the energy I want. What does she know about the Elder? Went on journey to visit religious heritage site. Knows he was not really going there. Could tell the players why with a negotiation. Could tell the players the truth with a negotiation. So let's do negotiation. What are her motivations and pitfalls? Motivations, power, definitely. She wants power. Pitfalls. Oh, she also wants a legacy, I feel like. Protection, right? She likes having and keeping power. She wants to be remembered. She wants to protect the people of the city. Pitfalls. What could be her pistols? Greed. I don't think she cares about money at all. What are the listed ones in the book? Negotiations. When to negotiate? Is that the one? Patience, motivations, and pitfalls. Benevolence, discovery, freedom, greed, higher authority, justice, legacy, peace, power, rivalry, vengeance. I think this religion speaks against vengeance. Vengeance. Oh, I know what it is. It's discovery. She doesn't discovery. She is a true believer. She is a full believer of the religion. She doesn't for a second think that there is a world outside here. And if the players tell her otherwise, she will be offended, right? If the players go, we've come from the outside world, she's not going to believe them. She's going to think they're lying to her. So she is in the town of Esmonda. I should fill this in for the other one. Religion. I fill these in, guys, so that I fill this in so that in the future I can find NPCs for similar types. So in the future, if I'm running a session, I'm like, I can really do with a priest. I can put it out. I've been doing it long enough for it to work yet, but in the future it'll be very useful for finding people, I think. Good. That's what I need to know. So she is the person they'll need to talk to find out she's the truth. So how could they find out this stuff, right? I feel like they could find out power. I need this open in the second tab, I feel like would be the smart thing to do here. Let's open this to the right. He is in Esmonda. There you go. So how can they find out this stuff about her if they were here, right? The leader and high guards are missing. Find out where they are from Gemma. Cool. If they talk to the priest, they can learn she knows and that she knows where they are, but is not telling. Why? She is worried for their safety and thinks unfoundedly there is a mole or someone might use it to take over the eldership. From these, with like a good presence test maybe, if they roll a reward, they learn she is very motivated by protecting the people. That's why she thinks it might be a coup. Where else could they learn stuff about? I feel like at the church there is a statue of previous elder. If they talk to a priest here, can learn Gemma wants to be on the plaque. It's probably a plaque of names in the future. It's a plaque. How could they learn that she doesn't care about greed? If they watch her give a service before speaking to her, she talks about how great the religion is and it's all true and stuff. I think a better thing in the session, right? And she talks about charity, gives free food to watchers. So we can learn about power, we can learn about protecting, we can learn about legacy. I don't know if they could learn about her desire for power. I think she keeps that pretty close to her chest, but they can learn about them that way. Cool. That's how they could learn about it, so they'd be able to pass negotiation. That would then let them find out where the leader is. That would then bring them back, and then we could deal with this problem. I think this item is somewhere, right? But I don't know if I've got it in me to figure that out again. So that's the session. That's what I need to run the session. I hope that was useful. If you're watching this in the future, leave a comment and say hi. I hope the audio was okay and stuff. I'll probably watch it back. If it's terrible, I'll unlist it so you don't have to watch it. Thank you to the people who stopped by live. Not that there are any of you currently here, but I'm going to try and do this again, kind of when I have the free time.